bearings, get this.
All right, the broadcast is going.
Woo! All right.
All right, let's hit YouTube real quick.
Yeah. I would assume it's up there. Yep, Brainbuster Boys live. There we are. Here, I can just do a tweet real quick.
All right, yeah, I can hear it.
And I'll send it out to Azar, to Stetter.
We're good. I was talking to Rich too. I bet Rich out of all of us was far and away the most cashed.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. He said he slept till 4 on Monday. I remember I had to go into his room because I put all the stuff in his room after the PK and John incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just like, you know what? Like, I just need to put my valuable stuff somewhere secure. Even though I didn't think he was gonna fuck with my shit.
Yeah.
But wow.
Yeah, that was wild.
That was extremely wild.
All right. Paste. Tweet. Done. Let's see. Get this out here.
Here's the company I paid for that photo thing.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, just some Chinese company. Well, I have a 3-day free trial, so I'll just have to cancel it.
All right. Boom. Just firing all these out here.
Yes, sir. Ugh. I think the walk that I took today was a power walk.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Oh, we've got one viewer. Hello.
Hi, howdy. Yeah.
We are almost ready to officially start here.
Yeah. Now, this is the cold open. This is literally the cold open.
First live episode of first official live episode of Brainbuster Boys.
Yeah, and you get to hear about John and PK and what else? What else we got?
All right. I think I'm about ready here. Oh, and we've got the UW pod, baby.
Hey, fellas.
Saying hello.
How we doing?
Just in time. Okay. Are you ready, bud?
Yes, sir. Yeah, big power walk, dog.
This is weird, but all right. Welcome to the Brainbuster Boys, episode 96. We're live. My name is Brett Jagger, along with Beaumont Rand.
I don't know. Do you think people want to see what's in my dungeon here?
The Dungeon of Doom? Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not really much of a dungeon. There's some clothes here and my cowboy hat there. And, it's
I mean, you are Big Sue Jackson after all.
Yeah. And
shout out to Big Sue.
Yeah, and I liked a tweet of his recently. I mean, he's a big proponent of Indianapolis local wrestling, and that's awesome.
Yes. So are we now.
Yes.
But hey, we're here. We're live. And we've got Brando saying some meth.
Oh, there's plenty.
That's Stetter. Hello. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Because he encouraged us to do this when we were with him before Dynamite last week.
Yeah.
Azar questioning whether we're wearing clothes or why we're wearing clothes. Well, here's a little nip for you.
No, actually, Azar, like literally all my stuff is like a doctor's gown. There's like a little tie, but beside it, like literally everything I'm wearing is just a front. Like my personality, right?
And no, I'm not having one of those days where I just don't like what I'm wearing because Shingo is indeed my daddy. Yeah, but we're here. Little live stream hype. Thank you all for joining us. The first official episode of Brainbuster Boys that we've done live. I think we did what we called BBB live, that weren't like official canon.
Yeah.
Episodes.
I mean, they were a disaster despite us. I mean, they weren't a disaster, but we did raise over $1,000 for tornado victims.
Yes. a large majority from our families, but
yes,
we did
but
have some outside donations.
But yeah, amidst all of our production and technology issues, but now like I think we got it ironed out.
That's why we got StreamYard, baby.
Yes,
You know, it
yes.
makes it easy. Click of a button. Here we
Mhm.
are on YouTube.
Yeah,
Subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already. I
please.
know we haven't posted a video in 10 months, but that's changing right now. And,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, the hope is for us to be doing this more often, you know,
Uh-huh.
maybe getting some bigger groups together that isn't like an official episode. But yeah, we're trying to do some more video shit this year. And,
Well, in StreamYard, you could do this.
yeah, you
You
can
could do
kind of walk
this.
around. And if you have
You
like a
could
bunch
do
of people too, you can
that. That.
you can mute people and kind of fuck with people. So
Like Micah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is interesting. This is fun. This is unique. And how are you? Before we really get into things, it's been kind of a weird podcast schedule lately
Yeah.
because we put out our Royal Rumble preview last Friday, so we'd already been to that Dynamite in Lexington, but we haven't discussed it together yet.
Yeah.
And then I went last night with our buddy Staves as well. So we're going to be talking about both of those, a little Royal Rumble and other things. But yeah, how the hell are you, brother?
Well, you know, it was one of those weeks that, you know, carried over to Monday like a good bit. You know, it was tough. I mean, we had a big weekend, and I went to my dentist appointment, and everything's good. You know, my gums are getting better. I have bad gum bleeding, by the way.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, and they give me a very special. We'll do a little plug for this. Gibson Healthcare, oral rinse.
Give me some of that rinse, brother.
Gluconate. You know, it's a antimicrobial. Let me turn this right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How much? Let me ask you something. How much do you floss?
Never.
I mean, I barely do either because I fucking bleed too much.
Yeah. So yeah, it's messed up.
Look at this. We got High Five Tom checking in. Gentlemen, how the fuck are you, baby?
Yeah.
We love you so much.
And anywho, yeah. So that and then Tuesday, so I was fortunate. I wake up at 6 a.m. to get for school, and then there was ice on the road, so I didn't have to go in then. But we did have an open house, so I did have to go in at 5:30, which gave me enough time because I had to teach classes online and just chill out for a little bit. And then Wednesday was my first normal day. You know,
yeah,
semi.
Yeah. I'd say I didn't really. I mean, I had to work Tuesday at 2:30, and I guess by that point I was back alive at least. But yeah, what really wasn't until yesterday feeling, you know, truly normal. But then I went to Dynamite, so that was tight. But all of this stems from, and we don't really want to talk about it, but we've pretty much opened every show the last several shows talking about our beloved Cincinnati Bengals, who took just a gut-wrenching loss in the AFC Championship. But, you know, I'm not going to say the refs cost us the game because I don't think they did. There was a lot of shit that happened.
We had multiple chances to win the game. We did.
But boy, good old Ron Torbert. He certainly didn't help our case anyway.
No. I mean, I guess like the calls are less like bad, but more bizarre. You know, especially
look at this insight from Tom here. Water picks are amazing replacement for flossing. Game changer for my previous bleeding gums.
What is a water pick?
It's like I think it like just blasts water like in between.
Oh, okay. So it's like you know how the dentist has that little like nozzle.
Yeah, pretty similar. Stetter also singing the praises. So hey, maybe we'll be a couple of water pickmen, you know.
We'll try it out.
Back to the brutal loss at hand. Go ahead. I know we cut you off here.
No, it's all right. You know, I mean, it was a fun game watching environment. You know, you know, like we had fun last year together having COVID, but like this was like, you know, like whenever we would score, we were like, I remember we'd be in a circle around that coffee table, just like looking at each other, just you know,
just DEFCON a million.
Yeah. The energy was excellent,
and it is water. I think they put some in the water.
Good food, you know, good time. But yeah, you know,
lots of beers, lots of dope. You know how that goes.
Yeah, it was just tough. You know,
but yeah, that coffee table being in the middle was strange because like there's what 8 8 or so of us in there, 9, I don't know. And yeah, everyone would get up and just like looking everyone in the eyes and screaming, but it's like there's this big old fucking table in the middle, so we can't really like jump and hug each other.
With glass. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, it was the separator, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Stetter. They did confirm the holding call, and the Osai penalty was bullshit because he barely touched him. Yes,
Yeah.
Mahomes was out of bounds, but come on, that's ticky-tack, child's
Mhm.
play shit, you know? But you also had said if we won that you would want to go through that glass, so
Oh, yeah. Oh, I did say that, didn't I? Well, then I'm glad we lost. No, I'm just kidding.
oh
You know,
man. Yeah,
art not
Stetter, it
fun.
was brutal. I'm curious. So Stetter, who's commenting here, I know he was at a concert at the time of the game.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
curious how
Yeah,
your
how did that go?
experience went during that. But yeah, like you said, so we had a great time, great group of people together for that. You know, we got down early like last year, never lost the faith, you know, had a ton of big plays. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, just couldn't get the job done. You know, Burrow, we got the ball back with what, 2.5 minutes, timeouts, couldn't get the first down. Then there was that bullshit block in the back on the punt that they missed as well. But anywho, and Stetter said it was weird as fuck. Well,
Yeah.
we'll talk separately on here. Oh, are you commenting in there yourself?
Oh, yeah. Azar said I'm going to end up like the deformed guy from Hannibal, who's Mason Verger. You know, played
Okay.
by Gary Oldman. Actually, it's
Oh,
one of those roles that Gary Oldman really sinks into and disappears into, where he plays like a guy who,
like in True Romance.
yeah, and he's a bad guy too. You know,
Yeah.
he's like a guy. Yeah, I don't want to go into like the surliness of his crimes, but yeah, like Hannibal made him like do things that like deformed and maimed him, and he wants revenge in the movie Hannibal. But yeah, Mason Verger, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, well, now we've got the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Yeah, I guess should we talk about the Joe Mixon
Oh
news?
yeah, Stetter just popped in with that. Yes, we were actually just talking about this before we went live. I guess there's currently a warrant out for Joe Mixon's arrest. It was from, I saw, January 21st. So
right. So like pre, you know, maybe pre the Bills game.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But
shit.
I haven't read too much into it. I know not a lot is out there yet,
Well,
but apparently, go ahead.
Something else is out there from Sleeper. His agent Peter Schaefer said the misdemeanor charge will be dropped. Okay. That's his agent, you know.
Well,
but
of course.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he was pointing a gun at a woman and said, "I ought to drop you," or "I ought to shoot you," or something. Not a good look for a guy who's already dropped a woman in his past. And that's the thing. He'd had a very clean record his whole time here, you know,
right.
and it kind of, not kind of, definitely had distanced himself from that incident he had in college and had been nothing but a model citizen. And yeah, it's a shame for the person for sure that this happened. But I was saying to Bo, like, for the team, frankly, like, I think he was on the chopping block to be cut anyway because of his insanely high salary. And frankly, he was not very productive, especially last game. So I think this kind of gives them a pretty easy out to cut him if they want. But if that's not the direction they want to go, then I'm sure they'll keep him. But yeah, it's just a shame it happened. But
it is.
Any take here?
No, I mean, just a sour way to end the season, but also I guess I hate to use the word interesting amidst like a tragedy, but like like going into the offseason too, thinking about our draft needs and stuff. You know, I don't think like taking a running back, like not for obviously, but like in an earlier round, I don't think would be the worst thing in the world. To think about. I mean, obviously we need offensive linemen. I think we need some secondary guys.
Yeah.
But that also kind of just underscores that a little bit.
No doubt. Yeah, going to be an interesting offseason for sure. But yeah, let's talk briefly about the Eagles and Chiefs here because our boy Nick in the comments, the UW pod, is an Eagles fan. Fly, Eagles, fly. I had told him I'd had visions of us doing kind of a joint show with the UW pod and with Dan Bakley, Cage, who are all Eagles guys, and how much fun that would have been. But alas, it can't happen. But I assume you'll be pulling for the Eagles here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, except for let's talk about that guy at the Village.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about that guy at the Village. Let's talk about
man.
that. Let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
shit. So this was after the game, after the Bengals game, after we lost. We will not even get into how our night after that game ended, but let's just
mine quickly went to bed because I had to go to the dentist and I was dead.
Well, I mean, right immediately after the game
Right,
before
right,
we went
right.
to the bar. So we end up going to the bar and meeting up with some friends because it's like, you know, at this point we're just sad and it's like, what do we do now? We're drunk. We're not, you know, we're wound up. We're wired.
Yeah.
And so we go to the bar.
Yes.
And when we first get there, I feel like shit. I'm
I'm on 0 hours of sleep the night before.
Yeah.
Like, it's rough shit, man. Like,
you know, everyone is in this together. We're all just kind of devastated, kind of shook, kind of like whatever. But I think as time comes, you know, a few more drinks start to loosen up a bit, whatnot. And then this clown with an Eagles jersey comes in.
Just the bar is packed and he's like chugging through
and it's
the
a
line.
very narrow space.
Yeah, we're in the seats that are like about 6 foot away from the bar, you know, from the bar stools themselves.
And there's this clown with an Eagles jersey who looked like a child, and you could tell he was hammered, with a couple of other scrubs with him. And what does he say? I can't. Do you remember exactly?
He said something to Rich. I think he said something to Rich, and that was the catalyst. And then you jumped in, you know.
Yeah, I remember I called him a virgin at one point.
Yeah. Oh, you did. And I'm kind of in the middle, and I'm just sort of like, hey man, like
he was trying to fight us. Like is what he was doing.
And I was like walk away, go away, like get out of here. And then like Big Red comes up.
There's the doorman at the bar and just fucking
Oh yeah, I've been to Bonnaroo with him multiple times. He's a great dude. But yeah, anyways, he's like has his forearm up like that and like puts it right in his neck and he's like, get the fuck out of here, and just charges him out the door.
Well, also like this guy was looking me dead in the eye and he's like, oh, I'll knock you out right now. I'm like, fucking do it then, you virgin. Like I was just throwing it right at him. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah. It does indeed smell like sex and sushi in here, Mr. Ritter. And here you go. Bo has a glorious mustache.
I should be fencing Zorro. I dressed up as Zorro as Halloween once. It was mad cultural appropriation, but whatever.
Shit. But yeah, let's go Eagles. I mean,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, go like Jalen Hurts, like down with him.
He was my fantasy quarterback. You know, rode me. I didn't win it all. I won the regular season title. Anywho, yeah, that sucks, but fun season for the Bengals for sure.
Oh yeah, ultimately, I mean, shit, we made it back to the AFC Championship game, and I mean, we still, I think, have, you know, like after the season, one of the top 3 rosters in the conference. So
no doubt. Well, shall we get it before kind of get into the meat of the show? Well, let's just talk a little Royal Rumble first, I guess.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I mean that was literally
you know what? Or should we do Dynamite and Lex? I mean, I know we're not going to roll through the whole thing since it's a week old, but just talking about our experience, things of that sort.
Yeah, let's go chronologically for sure.
Yeah, since we haven't talked about that since that happened. So yeah, we're at good old the House of
John's house,
Rupp Arena last Wednesday for AEW Dynamite, the first show in Kentucky. And it started, we were just getting a little beer and some food beforehand, and we ran into some old friends.
Slow Count,
who is and his dad Eric. We've now run into them randomly at 4 shows, 3 Impact shows, and now Dynamite. I'm actually meant to send him this link for this, but anywho, yeah, Slow Count. It's just fun. It's just always weird to run into those guys, but we get into the show, and it was a fucking hot crowd.
Oh, it was. Well, it reminded me. I mean, the only time I've been in there are for games with UK where UVL's playing them, so I've been like the visiting team, you know, and like just hearing like there's a distinct tenor to the Rupp Arena roar.
Yeah,
like just how it's just like, yeah, you know, like there's a very specific way, like the yells echo up in that big iron barn.
Yes,
you know, and like I heard it, you know, I can hear the Rupp Arena roar there.
I had an ear infection and I could still hear it.
Yeah.
Did you have something else?
No. I the ear infection seemed like a huge bummer. Speaking of a brave wearing red at Rupp, let's talk about Trevor Kelsey.
Oh God, yeah, our boy. So Trevor Kelsey is a guy. He works for he's like a producer. What's the
For
station in Louisville?
Big X. I forget what the number is, but he produces and is both on the Mike Rutherford show that's on from 3 till 6
Which is
on
a big
Monday through
U of L,
Friday.
University of Louisville
Yeah,
sports show.
the Card Chronicle
So
guy.
we had
Yeah.
interviewed Trevor at some point last year, had him on the show. He's a big wrestling
Yeah.
fan, big AEW fan, had some hoots with him. He smoked about 1 trillion cigarettes, had a great time.
Yeah.
But we noticed this guy sitting front row, and I kind of jokingly say, "Oh, is that Trevor Kelsey?"
Yeah.
And then you're like, "I think it is," because he had a Louisville shirt on.
Yeah, and it seems like something he would do
In the
too.
front row on the camera side.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and I also believe Trevor's an Eagles fan too.
he is,
Yeah,
yes.
remember he drove his real crappy car, he said, all the way to the Tom Brady Super Bowl. I forget where the hell that Super Bowl was.
Yeah, and I remember his like Twitter avatar is also something Eagles related. But yeah, that was funny, a funny start. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, we're not going to go through the whole show, but let's talk about, obviously, this was the night of the Jay Briscoe memorial match between Mark Briscoe, his brother, and Jay Lethal. Real life, very good friend of Jay and longtime Ring of Honor rival. And yes, it was quite emotional. They played like a video pretty early in the show. And then obviously when the match happened, I pretty much had tears in my eyes for 80% of it. It was a very special and cool moment to be a part of, and certainly one that I'll never forget.
Oh yeah, and like people asked me too after that because I told them I was like, oh yeah, I'm with Jagger at AEW in Lexington tonight, and people were like, how was it? And like, like I normally would be like, oh great, it was a lot of fun, but I was like, very somber too,
Yeah.
like I think like not just this match, but what this was, was a big part of the show, and I don't want to say it was all over the show and like it permeated every match, but it was in the air.
You knew we were
it was
building to that as the
yeah,
main
and as soon as we knew that was the main event, like because I believe I had asked you about that, and you were like, "No, I think it'll be the first match, or it won't be the main."
That was my thought, is it would open and it would, but then it's like, how do you come after that? Like that is a tough thing to follow. But I guess my thought was like, get through it and then get on with the rest of the show. But I'm kind of glad they did it the way they did it, because it really did feel that much more special, I think.
It did, yeah. No, and I think it deserved to be the main event for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I actually haven't rewatched this back on TV yet. I certainly plan to, but just based upon what we were seeing and what I've heard, like Jay Lethal was definitely the one, more broken up than Mark Briscoe. Like Mark Briscoe seemed like he was just out there another day's work, carrying so much weight on him, but
literally carrying both the belts and like coming out to their intro, like that had to have been. And I mean, like I believe I had told you that it was like more of a celebration of life to him.
Yes.
Like I wonder if he had kind of been through like the funeral and the real like had the, I don't know if the funeral had happened or anything like that.
I don't think it had. I'm pretty sure it was that weekend.
Okay.
But I mean, it had been like 8 days since he had passed, because it was like right before the previous week's Dynamite, which is why they just couldn't get anything done by that point, since they had to get all the jump through the fucking Warner Brothers hoops. But
right, exactly.
But yeah, the match, I mean, it's a tough match to like sit here and say it was a 5-star match, but the work was awesome. Obviously we all knew that Mark was going to get the W, but the moment, it's a 10-star moment. Like that's something you just can't put a rating on. It's just, we were fortunate enough to be there for it, and beyond that, fortunate enough for us have gotten into the Briscoes, when it was someone, obviously you'd never even heard of them until a few years ago.
Not until we did that Ring of Honor episode with Tom.
Yeah, but for me, like, being the huge wrestling fan I am, they were always someone who were on my radar. But yeah, I think it was when we were on with Chad and Diesel initially, they had kind of hyped him up, and then obviously the more we got to know Tom, he's the biggest fan of them I know. So, certainly got the opportunity to watch more. I know you weren't at the Impact show up
Yeah.
here in Newport, but
Yeah.
they won the tag team championships in Impact up here, so got to see that. And obviously, the only time I ever got to see them wrestle. But yeah, that was a very cool moment, and kudos to Tony Khan for making it happen, because I
for
know
real.
there was a lot of shit that politically behind the scenes with Warner's and everything that they had to go through to get that clear.
And very quickly too.
Yeah.
Very quick. Yeah. Yeah. And from a booking standpoint, for sure.
Yeah. And, other than that, I think, I think last night's show was better, and we'll certainly have a more detailed recap of that later in the show. But back to what Stetter said, what was the crowd like?
Yeah.
As Bo was saying, it was loud as hell in there.
Rep Arena loud.
Honestly, for all the Dynamites I've been to, which is, I think, like 11 at this point, one of the best. I'm not going to sit here and say it was the best, because it's kind of hard. The crowds are always fucking great for these shows, but that's definitely one that sticks out to me. And, maybe because I did have the ear infection and it was muffled out of this ear, it filled so much louder in this ear. But man, everyone was hyped all night. And yes, they did. So they had the whole
the
whole upper level was blocked off. But yeah, the whole lower bowl was full. I don't know, maybe 6,000 people there, something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was a heck of a time. But yeah, let's just touch on some of the other matches real quick. I like the opener with Sammy and Jericho against Action Andretti and Ricky Starks. Darby and Buddy Matthews was solid, but we'll have a much better Darby match to talk about here shortly. The Jungle Hook versus it was Ethan Page and Matt Hardy. You had kind of mentioned, like, okay, this is at least a step in kind of taking off the kid gloves off a Hook, as we've been talking about.
Yeah, which was necessary. Yeah.
Getting kind of some more real type opponents. Danielson versus Brian Cage was probably the best match of the night of Dynamite, aside from the main event, I think. Just, Danielson took a beating, as he has been prone to do. And I'm glad Cage has been getting featured some more, because he's a guy who had seemingly disappeared for many, many months.
Oh, yeah, especially from TV. And now, like, he kind of is, getting his ass kicked on TV, which we'll talk a little bit about later.
Well, he's doing some ass kicking as well, but not getting W's. Which,
yeah. And I kind of wonder, because, like, I remember there was like a big, like theory where he was like, "Oh, I'm mad about like my booking, and I want to go to WWE."
Well, Azar's right. Brian Cage isn't a man.
No, he's not.
He's a machine.
He's a robot.
Not sure if you knew. From the 559. That was
where's the 559?
It's somewhere in Southern California, but that was how they would call it in Lucha Underground. Real quick, Tom was leaving. He said, if you can find the match Dem Boys had with the Workhorsemen at Warrior 222, top 10 tag matches I've seen in person. And he said, I got to run, gents, but good to see my boys in the real time. Listen to the rest this weekend. Tom, you're the fucking man. Thank you for joining. We love you, baby.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we also had Ruby Soho and Tony Storm, which was a fun little match, and kind of the beginning of the heel turn of Tony and Saraya, which, I mean, I'd say they're fully heel now.
Yeah.
And then the main event, like we said. But I do want to touch on Rampage, because I thought that Rampage was excellent. I did rewatch that. And again, like we said, it's tough. It's tough to follow that Mark Briscoe Jay Lethal match.
Oh yeah. And we were
they had the emotional, the whole locker room pouring out onto the stage, and Mark hugging everyone, and it's like, all right, now let's reset the ring, and we got Rampage in 10 minutes.
Well, I remember Tony Khan came out and he thanked everyone, and he's like, "Are you ready for Rampage?" And I was just like, I was Delta 8'd at that moment, pretty hard, like. Ready to go get some world famous Rep Arena ice cream. Which
that creamed it. We went on a clutch cream run for sure.
Yeah.
But hell, that whole Rampage was great. Like, I went 4.25 on both the
Yeah.
opener, which was Hangman and Wheeler Yuta,
Right.
and the main event, which was my girl and one of my two mothers, Jamie Hayter,
Mhm.
against Emi Sakura, the Japanese legend, in her first television match,
Yeah.
fucking finally.
Yeah.
And she made it count, and both of their chests were fucking beat red after that one, and they pummeled each other.
They sure did, man. Like this was like, I don't know, this was just a, I don't know. Like I thought this Rampage really just kept the energy going.
Yeah.
Sort of despite like, that last match ending on somewhat of like sort of a plateau or like,
Yeah, I think
like a
they knew
huge
like
send off.
they
Yeah.
needed some big hitters there,
Yeah.
to kind of bring the crowd back. And what
Yeah.
better way than Hangman and Wheeler? And then also it was a fun trios match. It was the best friends, or no, I think it was just tag team with Danhausen, best friends Orange against, it was Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Yes.
Jeff Jarrett's fucking tight.
Yeah, he is. Well, I'm glad he like wears his wrestling attire and comes out like parading around with that.
With
Like
his guitar.
because like, like I've seen him more in ring because I know, was he not hired to be like some sort of a VP of booking development,
doing a lot
whatever,
of more like live event house show type stuff, which
they are doing house shows now.
The first one is here, or it's in Troy, which is right up the road. So probably end up going to that March 18th.
March, yeah, no, then that's on a
Saturday.
Yeah, that would be fun. Let's do that.
Yeah. So yeah, Troy is literally like 10 minutes north of Dayton. So like that's why they announced it there last night, because we were in Dayton.
Was it at like a high school gym or something?
I don't know. Last night it was at the Nutter Center.
Yeah, I saw that.
State. I don't know what would be in Troy. I guess we'll see. Maybe they've probably got some like convention center or something. But
yeah.
Anywho, I know that's a lot of what he was hired for, is kind of expanding the live events. I mean, the guy's got like nearly 40 years experience in the business. So I'm just surprised they've been, one, using him as a wrestler on TV so much, and two, that he's actually pretty entertaining and good. And that's a guy, I've talked a little bit, like that's a guy I never really liked ever until like the last year or two. And I don't know, I'm entertained by him.
Yeah, he's got big jackassy vibes, but whatever.
Yeah, fucking slap nuts.
Yeah, it's like what like my like JV basketball coach would like call us. Like if you like turn the ball over, like some sort of a thing like that. More like freshman ball, but whatever.
Oh shit. I guess shall we go into the Royal Rumble?
Oh man, fucking rumble me mama like a wagon wheel. That's what the song goes,
right? So I know you did not watch the whole show, but
I mean, it was tough. It was squeezed in, like we had barely enough time before the Eagles and Niners game.
Yeah. Well, that was the plan, was to watch it before that game, and then I got there late, and it was a longer show than I expected, but we did squeeze in the entire men's Rumble before all the football on Sunday.
Yes, we did.
And then I finished the show on Monday. So you watched the bookends, essentially, the men's Rumble and the main event. We'll do like a deep dive on that, and before that, Nick says, Pitch Black match 5 stars. I was gonna start there. Actually,
yeah. Talk about that, because I want to hear about it without knowing.
Blackout ripped for Pitch Black,
and this was LA Knight versus
Bray Wyatt. It sucked. The only good thing about
it was it on the card.
Second, so it was after the men's Rumble. The only good thing about it was that it was 5 minutes, but it was pitch black the entire. I mean, obviously you could see, but. Remember how the Fiend would have like that red light bullshit? Kind of like that, but more like black lighty. So like you could see, I don't even know what it was, but they hit the announce table at some point, and you just saw all these fucking like neon green balls. Like it looked like popcorn or something.
Right. Oh, so it was like a rave kind of thing.
They were accentuating the neon like black light type shit. But it was, I mean, it sucked. Like, I couldn't even tell you. Like, and then they had this whole angle with Uncle Howdy after, who was like up on the Jumbotron.
It sounds like a good name for Bray Wyatt, but like the like I feel like the execution, like every time I hear about Uncle Howie, it's very condescending.
No, Howdy. So they had him, like Bray got the win, and then it was outside of the ring, and then they had LA Knight like on this table, And then all of a sudden the light goes up to Uncle Howdy, like standing up on the Jumbotron, and he like jumps off and completely overshoots LA Knight by like 5 feet.
Wow. Oh my God.
It's like if the match wasn't bad enough, just completely botched this move as well. Like I was literally cracking up at this point. I'm like, this was absolute dog shit, and this happened. But again, like I said, it was kept short. And at least it was something different, like I will give it credit for that. Like, for me, wrestling, you've seen it all. So when you can do something that's different, I'll give them kudos for that. And like
but they've done a lot of like lights out matches in the past, right? Where darkness is used as a thing. And this like seems like what was that like Firefly match that you've talked about?
Well, that was wasn't even really a match. That was just like a extended acid trip segment.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like the best way I could describe. So there was never any in-ring action. Like Cena had come out to the ring and then it was all done like over video, but that was actually really cool. But it wasn't like a real match.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I will say this about Bray Wyatt. I was someone who I've always thought he was overrated. A guy who, the character's cool, but I think the Fiend, and I was not following closely during all the Fiend shit, but I think it was a colossal failure.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Like from what I saw,
Seth Rollins Hell in a Cell is one of the worst things WWE's done. Obviously, the opening to WrestleMania Night 2 of last year was horrendous. And then, yes, he comes back. Very, very cool moment at the end of Extreme Rules. Like, that was amazing. And nothing has happened since. It took this long for him to have his first match, which was horrible. The build to me has not been entertaining. Yeah, there's still some intrigue, like holistically, of like what the hell's going on here, who's Uncle Howdy, but they've just been like spinning their wheels for what now, 4 months?
Quite some time, yeah.
He's had since like 5-minute match.
In what pay-per-view was it where he came back?
Extreme Rules, which I believe was like October.
Yeah, and it seems like I've just heard like it's just been like ominous like placement of him.
Correct. There's been nothing that's actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not aligned with anyone, right?
Well, whoever this Uncle Howdy is,
other than Uncle Howdy,
I mean, Nick, if you're still here or anyone here that's watching WWE, give me a compelling reason why this Bray Wyatt thing is good. Okay, I'll give Azar this. LA Knight promos are still fire. Yeah. Here's what he said. Yeah, it's too hard to get over. We want him to succeed, but it's too much for one wrestler. Then why do it? Like, let's simplify things rather than making them more fucked up. Like, I don't know. I was excited about all this too, because it's like, okay, this is Triple H running the show now, so we think. He's done a lot of good things thus far, but I don't know. This isn't working for me, and I just think this is just further cementing that Bray Wyatt is not as good as everyone thinks he is. And I get Nick's point, but you got to be able to do something here. I don't know. This is pretty bunk.
Yeah, and it's Parliament Bunkadelic.
It wasn't me, my brother. It was Boy Howdy. You wouldn't know. But yeah, I'm not gonna say like I'm over it all completely. I think that like we'll see what happens going into WrestleMania. But in our next match, which was also not very good, Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss made me less excited for Bray Wyatt because after Alexa lost, she started communicating with Bray or Uncle Howdy again.
So we're going right back to
that. We're going right back to school from WrestleMania Night 2 last year, which
Part
was
2.
The fucking worst way to open a show.
This is school spring semester. This is for the spring semester.
Like, come on. Like, that Alexa Bray Wyatt shit was terrible. And now we're just going right back to it. And yeah, I guess there's rumors like she's going to be Sister Abigail, or there's this whole Wyatt 6 thing that's forming. And maybe it is, but it ain't working yet.
Sounds stupid.
Dan Bakley, Cage My IQ. What up, boys? Thanks for joining,
Howdy,
brother.
bud.
And congrats to you and your Eagles. But yeah, the women's match, it was like 7 minutes. It just nothing really exciting. It was just kind of like back and forth, finish.
Yes.
And then Bray Wyatt bullshit. So I don't know. I
What are we
guess
gonna
maybe
do?
we'll start seeing old Lily again, the doll, and Alexa just bleeding black out of her face.
Yeah, and the weird kind of like screechy kind of,
But, it worked so well the first time. Let's just do it all over again.
right. Exactly.
But
Silly.
let's just see what happens. Hey, at least we're watching WWE, for now.
And
Until
I'm
Vince.
still, yeah. And I didn't watch that, but like from what I watched, especially like with the KO Roman stuff,
Yeah,
I'm
obviously we're gonna get to all the good shit here. So real quick, just on the women's rumble, it was fine. I'm obviously thrilled Rhea Ripley won. The finish was awesome. She eliminated. It was Liv Morgan was last, and she like basically like kicked her out with her legs. And I know there was another really cool one
yeah.
before that.
Mhm.
Oh, it was Asuka. Yeah, Asuka had spit the mist in Liv's face, and then Rhea gave her a nice kick out. But
Yeah.
yeah, the match was fine. I didn't love it. Nothing too noteworthy other than Asuka coming back as her like Japanese self, which was really cool, or her
Yeah.
character in Japan, not her
Right.
Japanese self.
Yeah. Yeah, her normal Japanese self.
Yeah, there was a handful of like NXT folks in here, Roxanne Perez, Indy Hartwell.
Yeah.
The Undertaker's wife, Michelle McCool, was in the crowd with her daughters and entered from the crowd, which was stupid and silly, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Wow, it sounds like there was a bunch of pig slap in the middle of this show.
Yeah, it was a little. Yes, exactly. The bookends were sensational, and yeah, the middle was a little pig sloppy. Cage says, yeah, Zoe Stark, another NXT woman, did last a little while and looked really good, but compared to the men's Rumble, which we'll get into here shortly, this was just very pedestrian to me.
Yeah.
But again, very, very happy. My other mother, Rhea Ripley, won. But not too thrilled that she challenged Charlotte and not Bianca, which happened on Raw the next night. But I
Yeah.
know her and Charlotte have a ton of history, and that stems back to WrestleMania a couple years ago. But man, I was just wanting to see Rhea and Bianca because Bianca's been pretty unbeatable.
But I mean, they're getting a match at WrestleMania, right?
So the winner of the Rumble gets to choose who they face. So she chose Charlotte, who's the SmackDown champ, and then I believe they're having the women's elimination chamber match determine the number one contender for Bianca. An elimination chamber is the next pay-per-view. So.
No, I also agree. That's kind of lame-o.
We got some fellow Marks here. So Kana was Asuka's name in Japan. So Dan had said something about that, and Azar's saying, you've been around. And he's like, that's what I'm told. Gotta love the Marks in the chat, baby. Thank you all for joining. This honestly makes this more fun.
It does.
We're so in our rhythm of kind of how we've been doing this show for so long that
it makes it a little bit more dynamic.
And we needed a little bit of this. And frankly, everyone's on YouTube. We should be too.
Yep.
Okay. Let's get to the good stuff here. And I know, we weren't all fully zoned in during the men's Rumble because there was a lot of us in there, and anticipation was.
There were
rising.
a lot of highlights, and it was way better than last year. I mean,
a trillion times better. Yeah, this was easily the best Rumble out of the last few. The one that Drew McIntyre won, which I think was 2020, was really good too.
Was that like pure COVID, like no audience?
No, that was like right before COVID.
Oh, so January
of 2020. But yeah, as expected, I think Cody got the win. But what wasn't expected was he came in at number 30. Like I thought they would have, because they'd already announced that he was in the match. They'd been building this up. Granted, they had Rhea win from the number one spot on the women's, but I just thought he would have been in there a lot longer, or at least, not number 30, because by that point, it's like, all right, we all know who it is, and we all know he's going to win.
Yeah.
But I think what was awesome was that Gunther came in at number 1 and lasted the entire time and set the new record, which was like 71 minutes and change.
Well, and they gave him and Cody like a lot of time to beat up on each other, which I thought was good because like one of the worst parts about last year was how telegraphed the Lesnar shit was coming in at 30. And like, you know, while this had similar positioning, I guess
did he win it in 30 spot last year too?
He did, yes, he did.
God bless.
Yeah. So like I think, you know, like this at least like gave them time, you know, and that was just a lot more enjoyable.
Hold on, welcome Luke. Thank you for watching. And he says, "Wait, we're done talking about the women's. What about Chelsea Green?" Well, she only lasted as long as it took me to say that sentence because we had another record setter here, the returning Chelsea Green, the record for the shortest time in a women's Rumble match, 4 seconds. But by God, she looked fucking great. And they're clearly running with a Karen type character with her.
Really?
Because she asked Adam Pearce last night, "Are you the manager?" And she's definitely got that bitchy type attitude and the look that can pull this off. I'm a Chelsea Green fan. She's sexy as hell, and I think she's a unique type worker. And I'll be interested to see how her run in WWE goes this time, because last time she basically got hurt and then got released. Oh, interesting note from Azar here. Yeah, so there was a women's 4-way match at All In way back when, and I didn't know who she was at that point. And yeah, she definitely stood out in that match. She's got a great offense on her. You know, she's tall, she's lean, she can fly. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but definitely going with a Karen character here.
Yeah.
Back to the men's. At least Cody and Gunther had a whole other match after they became the final two. Yeah, I had said this when we were watching it. Definitely, it reminded me of the 2007 Royal Rumble, which was similarly with Michaels and the Undertaker. Seemingly went at it for like 10 minutes there as well. But yeah, I loved it. I thought Gunther had an awesome performance all the way through. I loved that Lesnar's bullshit didn't last too long, and he was eliminated by bum, big motherfucking Bob!
There we go. Ahead and zoom in on that.
Big Bob. See you, Statter.
Yep. Later, dog.
Thanks for coming, baby. Appreciate you. Love you. But yeah, I mean, we knew Lesnar wasn't going to win after last year, but he did like he suplexed about 5-6 people, had a few eliminations, but yeah, Big Bob got him out pretty quickly there.
Yeah. What
I don't love about it is it's seemingly setting up a Big Bob Lesnar WrestleMania match. I'm just thinking of Big Bob's Hell. Or Big Bob Hell.
Big Bill Hells.
Well, I know it's Big Bill, but now Big Bob.
Big Bob.
Maybe we should have an interpromotional WrestleMania match. Big Bob versus Big Bill from AEW.
Fire.
But like whenever they've tried to do that match, it just hasn't really worked out or lived up to expectations. But
yeah,
shit. So we've got other
Bonanza.
Big Bob from Harold and Kumar, Guantanamo Bay. Can't say I've seen it, bud.
No, I don't think I've seen that one either.
Borg Borbs Benornza, another BBB right there.
Yeah.
So Logan Paul, I was going to say another potential WrestleMania match set up is Logan Paul and Seth Rollins, as Logan Paul was the one to eliminate Seth. Obviously, we had the Logan Paul and Ricochet spot where they flew and collided in the middle of the ring, which was awesome. But yeah, Logan with a bit of a surprise elimination on Seth. How would you feel about that as a WrestleMania matchup?
I think that'd be pretty tight.
Do you think Seth, like Drew, deserves so much better, or do you think that's a good spot?
I think maybe he does, but I think everything you've kind of seen from Logan Paul's been pretty.
He's
good.
Legit.
Yeah.
I mean, Oh, here we go. Cage. Logan posted a video making fun of Seth on social media. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think the talking build would be amazing because obviously Logan Paul can talk shit, and Seth's character is in such a place right now where he's pretty infallible and he's got the whole crowd on his side and he can say and laugh and do whatever the fuck he wants. So, now that we know Cody won the Rumble and is going to challenge Reigns, I'd say this is a pretty big spot for Seth. I mean, Logan Paul, say what you will, he's a big fucking deal and he can wrestle and he is entertaining. So, I'm here for it. And like what are we going to do? Seth and Austin Theory again? Yeah. Seth and Big Bob again?
I don't know if
that's all been kind of done.
Mm-hmm.
When they asked Seth about Logan eliminating him on Raw, he stopped laughing and walked off. You're absolutely right. The seeds being planted here, I'm down for it.
I think it should be pretty cool.
Other kind of highlights, I liked how Drew and Sheamus, the Bang Bros, were kind of teaming up the entire time. That was really cool. Like, you typically don't see that type of teamwork from faces lasting essentially through an entire Royal Rumble. And credit to Sheamus as well. I mean, he came in at number 2 and lasted a very, very long time. I don't know the exact time. We had the Kofi Kingston botched, I guess, on the chair. Because, I mean, his feet clearly hit the ground, but we're like, all right, I guess they're doing this shit again. And then we just never saw him again.
Never saw him again. He just pieced out.
Like, every few minutes, someone in our room is like, where's Kofi coming back
Kofi?
here?
Yeah. Yeah, it was very Macho
Kofi?
Man 92.
Where is Kofi? Macho Man 90. Well, he did come back in, though.
Oh, yeah, he did.
That was the opposite. He wasn't supposed to get eliminated. Whatever.
Yeah.
We had Booker T come back and get eliminated pretty much immediately. The Rey Mysterio situation. He didn't come out. Dominic came out with his mask and was just doing his damnedest to try and rip it and just couldn't.
Yeah.
I guess he needs to do a few more lifting his weights in jail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He is in jail, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been to jail.
Prisoner.
We had the Edge come back, which was cool, and kind of continue that feud with Dominic and the Judgment Day. And then even fucking Beth Phoenix, his wife, showed up here because Rhea showed up. And she speared her there. So I'm guessing maybe since I guess Ray got hurt. Look, we got Mr. News here. Always spitting the facts, baby.
Breaking news.
He wasn't cleared. Thank you, Daniel. And yes, this is kind of the rumor. We're seeing Drew, Sheamus, Gunther, triple threat match at Mania. Sign me the fuck up for that because we've already seen what Sheamus and Gunther can do together, and you just add another brute like McIntyre in there. And the teamwork between those two, seemingly will break down when it's, hey, there can only be one winner here.
Right.
And this I'd kind of predicted, like probably many others, that after Sheamus lost, the second Intercontinental match to Gunther, that, hey, wouldn't it be nice if he can come back in WrestleMania and finally get that win? So I hope Sheamus gets that dub, but I hope he does pin Gunther for it because I think that would make it.
That'd be a very legitimizing thing.
Not really too much else to talk about here, but the end was awesome.
Yes.
I don't know exactly how long they went. It seemed like I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like a full length match.
Yeah, multiple near falls and stuff like that. Kind of
not
moments
near eliminations.
Near elimination. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But
although that did remind me in the 1993 Royal Rumble, which we were going to review. I think it was Macho Man and Yokozuna were the last two, and Macho Man hit him with his big elbow, and he tried to pin him. And he got shut.
What was the reasoning behind that?
He's just Macho Man. Oh yeah, let me get the pin here, brother.
He just lost track of.
We already saw what happened the year before in '92. He eliminated himself.
he's just not in peak form at Royal Rumble. Yeah, he's just not.
Oh fuck! Let's go to the main event here.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
just,
wild as hell.
I mean, this has been by far the best storyline, best angle, whatever you want to say, that WWE has done in some time, years. I don't know. The Daniel Bryan one comes to mind. That was fucking 9 years ago. Was it 9?
Something
8?
like that.
It would have been WrestleMania 30. Is this 39 happening this year?
39.
Yeah, so 9. I don't even know if there's anything else. And again, I stepped away from WWE for a few years, but yeah, this bloodline, Sami Zayn, has been outstanding, and now it's over. Well, Sammy is no longer Sammy Uso. Jey Uso is out of the bloodline. And yeah, it was fucking crazy. I'm so glad. Was that spoiled for you at all?
No, not at all. Not one bit. Not one bit.
neither.
I'm glad it wasn't.
Cage says Kofi Mania, which that was also very cool. And Kofi unexpectedly won the championship at WrestleMania over Daniel Bryan, actually. But obviously the match was really good in and of itself. But the story here is the post-match. But towards the end of the match, I did love that, fucking Reigns just kept beating Owens' head up against the steps there. But let's just skip to the end. So he gets the win. They handcuff him to the ropes, and Reigns gets the chair, and Sammy's basically trying to stop him. He's like, "You've done enough. You're above this. Like this. This is too much. You're above this. This is unnecessary." Sammy finally showing a little heart. Well, not finally. He had, but obviously we know what happened at Survivor Series, where he really kind of staked his claim here against Owens and in the bloodline, but his heart is showing here. This is a individual he's, been best friends with for a very long time in storyline and real life, but not as much in storyline, but sometime. Anywho, it was vicious. And he's like, Reigns is basically like, "You do it." Because that had been the whole thing. Like, he had never truly been anointed by Reigns. And that was the thing. Jey had the lay or whatever, Like the official, like, "Hey, you are finally one of us."
Right.
Which had kind of happened at Survivor Series, but not, it still hadn't been made official yet. And this was kind of that final test. And coming into the night on SmackDown Friday, because Reigns had been pissed at Sammy when they lost to KO and Cena at the end of last year. So on SmackDown, Reigns is basically like, "You stay with me all night," which is why he wasn't in the Rumble. And, it's basically like, if we get through this, we're all good. So, like, this was the final test for him to pass. And I thought the moment where Sammy had the chair, like, you knew he was going to do it. At least I did, but I loved the hesitation and Reigns being like, "He's nothing. I love you," like basically trying to convince him. And he's right. Like, he did bring him in, and he was having jackass matches. Like, even though that was fucking amazing, but that ain't running with the bloodline and the tribal chief and the wise man. But I just love those moments of hesitation. Reigns basically trying to convince him at the 11th hour, like, "This is what you need to do to become one of us." But at the end of the day, Sammy's golden heart got the better of him, and he cracked Reigns with the chair. And then the look on Jey Uso's face is what sold it all. It was almost like, "I wish I was the one that did this." And, at first he was like, "What'd you do? What'd you do?" And then Jimmy attacked, and then you just see Jey kind of fade back to the corner, and then he leaves.
Wow. Yeah.
And that, just the depth and the layers of this has been so good, because it was always Jimmy in the beginning was the only one that had accepted Sammy. Jey, it took until Survivor Series, after months and months and months of Sammy helping them out, trying to be one of them, before Jey really got the respect. And now, of all people, it's him that turns his back on his own blood to stay with Sammy for now, presumably. Here is what Dan said. "I think Jey will go back to the bloodline and team with Jimmy to face Owens and Sammy at Mania," which I think is definitely possible. but I could see Jay getting pissed at Jimmy and leave him during the match. That all,
Yeah.
we've got one-on-one Usos at WrestleMania as rumors now.
Mhm.
It seems like we're gonna get Zayn versus Reigns in Montreal, which is Zayn's hometown, at the Elimination Chamber. Also, Kevin Owens from Quebec. So Elimination Chamber is certainly going to be very, very interesting. And yeah, like Dan said, like this all could be kind of part of the plan where Jay, ultimately does reunite with them. I don't know what the hell's going to happen, but I am
That's
strapped
a
in
good
and
thing. Yeah,
buckled up. And
it's a great engaging story. There's a lot of moving parts.
yeah, Jay gave Roman the evil stare. I mean, do you have? I know you're obviously not quite as plugged into this, but do you have a prediction or
Do I?
anything that you would want to see happen? I mean,
Yeah, I think that like I would like to see definitely like some like breaking up like in the bloodline like with like Usos and stuff like that. I think there's just got to be kind of a bit of a deconstruction of it before like if Cody's going to beat him at WrestleMania. Like,
yeah,
that kind of all needs to happen very gradually and successively.
that would make
Yeah.
sense. It's like, hey, the bloodline is kind of cracking around Roman,
Yeah.
and then now that causes him to lose
Or
his
he's just
belt
left with like
after.
Paul Heyman or something like
Yeah.
that. And then even then Paul Heyman's just sort of got one foot out the door.
Well, it doesn't seem like Solo Sikoa is going anywhere because he's
Yeah.
kind of like at Reigns' becking call.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating. I agree. Like, Cody's gonna win, right?
Mhm.
Like, if he doesn't, wow. I'd almost be more interested if he doesn't, but Drew should have won it. But given where we're at here, I think Cody's gonna win, and I think what you said makes perfect sense. Like, the bloodline is sputtering, and this is the reason he finally loses. So, I can't. Luke actually texted me something about this last night, and I was working and didn't respond, or I was at Dynamite and didn't respond. So, did WWE miss the boat on not having a KO versus Cody match to headline Mania, or is WWE not ready for that? Well, yeah, I think that would be more interested from like a fan's perspective, but I think the dethroning, or like as a KO fan, I mean, but dethroning Reigns is as big as you can get right now. I mean, he's
Right.
been champion for or will be over 900 days that by that point.
Yeah.
You can't get any bigger than that. Like, I would obviously love to see KO versus Cody,
Mhm.
but this just makes way too much sense at
Oh
this
yeah.
point. Yes, it would have been nice to see KO get the win. But I think this is just the direction they've probably had planned ever since Cody came back.
Oh yeah, and I think they want to have it like, happen at Mania too. Like this like it would be like must see TV like on steroids for them. Like
Yeah.
would like garner like so much more like people watching it. They could build up, this big match like is Roman. He's been the champion for like over 2 years now.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I think they just really want that kind of like, not just wrestling moment, but sports moment.
Yeah. To happen on the grandest stage of them all.
Yeah, I think that's what they want.
And like, let's just say KO hypothetically did beat Reigns at the Rumble. It's still like there would be so much unfinished bloodline business, no matter how that shook out, that a Reigns or a KO versus Cody match at WrestleMania just wouldn't have made them. It just wouldn't have felt right, I guess, yet.
So what do you think? You think this match happens on night 2 headliner? I
Yes,
guess.
I think
Yeah.
so. I guess Cody on Raw had said something about 62 days, and that put it as the second night of WrestleMania. So, but so we don't, obviously Roman versus Sammy is not official yet for Elimination Chamber, but I would get like, it'll be interesting to see, is that for the titles? Is it for maybe one of the titles? Because they've talked about how do we split these belts up, but then I think like it would probably make most sense for Cody. Well, he really only wants the WWE Championship because that's the one that his father couldn't win. And frankly, the Universal Championship's only been around for 6.5 years. So,
Yeah.
but I just can't
what he wants.
imagine Reigns losing before that. Like as nice as it would
Oh,
be for
yeah.
Sammy to
No,
get a feel
I
good
think
win and win one of the belts, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think it would be just kind of, I don't know about that. Like, I just don't think it would happen,
But I think
before that.
anything that's going to happen is going to be incredibly compelling with it being, Sammy and Kevin both from Quebec. I'm pretty sure Sammy's from Montreal. I know Owens is from like Maryville, but
Maryville. So Sammy is French Canadian or Quebecois.
they both
That's
are. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Maryville, Quebec, Canada is where KO is from. And I'm pretty sure Sammy is from Montreal,
Just straight up.
which is
Okay.
where the show is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating. Yeah, I'm excited. WrestleMania should be great. Shall we do our little ad here and then get into Dynamite from last night? We're already over an hour here.
Yeah, let's dive into that. Let's do it.
All right. We are going to be talking about today the Manscaped, the new Beard Hedger, which I just got in the mail just yesterday. So let's get into it here, shall we?
Yeah. Let's jazz it up.
Breaking news! Manscaped now sells beard products. That is right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new, with this nice packaging as well.
Yeah.
The Beard Hedger.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that, baby? Hedge? I could use it on myself right now, but that would be reckless abandon.
No, it's fine. Hedge your bets because this is what you need to be buying like now.
Yeah, from a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger allows you to shape your signature beard look, which I will certainly be doing. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the code BBB as you see up here on your screen for 20% off and free shipping. Why don't you tell us more about the Beard Hedger there, bud?
Sure thing. It's time to tame your mane. No one likes a weird beard, so say goodbye to all your stubble trouble with Manscaped's Beard Hedger. So as you can see what it did to my beard. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting links all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. That's right. Face grooming doesn't need to be hard. Get 20 different beard links in just one guard. While the Beard Hedger is made for any length, it does have a special feature for all my bald-faced boys out there, like me. Oh, the Hedger has a built-in advanced lift comb technology that allows for a smoother, complete shave. I have to say I'm a bit of the plow guy.
You do love the plow.
Suck it.
But this will definitely be good for me, for someone who does have a little bit. This beard could use some hedging for sure.
Yeah. I do have to say I love the plow. I shaved with it today. Like, as someone who used disposable razors all before this, shaving at a 90-degree angle, it is really nice. No, I don't look like a musketeer.
I do look like Boxers 2.0 with the nice hog pouch.
Yeah, it is a nice hog pouch.
Showing off all the ducks here, the prod ducks.
Well, another crazy thing, a wild and crazy thing about that beard trimmer, it's also waterproof.
Oh,
so you can shave in the shower to avoid all that hair in the sink.
Skin-safe technology.
It does, yeah, but you want to make sure to get all that hair out of the sink or the drain first to keep it from clogging. It also comes with titanium-coated T-blades that are tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. The Beard Hedger is a high-tech piece of art in a travel-size package with a long-lasting battery, universal charging, and a strong motor, dare I say. With 20 links at just one stroke of the trimmer, it has never been so easy to look this dreamy. Your face is your first impression, impresario, and your beard is the most important accessory. So make sure you have the right tool for the job with the Beard Hedger. The company that helped reduce nicks and cuts in your special place has come to save your face. Save your armpits with this deodorant too, which is what I use. Call us to action, Brady baby.
So get 20% off and free shipping with the code BBB at manscaped.c. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using the code BBB. Manscaped Beard Hedger. One stroke, one guard, 20 lengths. Your balls. Wait, your face. Well, thank you.
And your armpits too. Get this fucking deodorant with the hair tie around it. Not that it doesn't have the hair tie around it.
They do have some good deodorant.
They do. Sure. Yeah. No, I've been a big user of their deodorant and of their shampoo and their soap. They also do have another brand of their body wash that is Lord, I forget what it is, but it's like a kind of got a cologne-y smell to it, and it's really nice. So
It's
Yeah.
all good shit with the fine folks at Manscaped. Well, shall we get into a little AEW Dynamite there, brother?
Yeah. Let's go.
Trying
Hey,
to
Justin.
Oh, what up, dog? Yeah, here, let's put it in here. Shit, I didn't realize you and TK were live, but yeah, let's fucking go!
Let's
This
go.
is our first official episode that we're doing live here. So the BBB live that you referenced that we've done in the past, those were not like official in our canon of episodes, Brainbuster Boys episode, but this is officially episode 96.
Yeah.
And shit, we're coming up on 100, aren't we, brother?
Yeah, no, what are we going to do for it? I have some ideas. We've talked about some ideas. I assume that'll be in early March. It'll be like a spring break.
We're going to get hog
also
wild.
We might as well just do it for Revolution. I mean, are we going to be able to make it in time?
Shit. I mean, we'll have to scope out the weeks and
we will, because so next week 97, 16th 98, 23rd. Oh yeah, so and Revolution's the first weekend of March, right?
Oh fuck.
That will be episode 100. Should we make an episode each week?
Fuck.
That's perfect. That's
one
perfect.
wasn't Revolution 2021. That was the free agency, which is also a very famous episode. And 2021 was that was that one, the exploding barbed wire. And then last year was when Derek and Micah came here as well for Revolution. So
let's
and
do
then 2020, I had a very special Revolution 2020, if you recall.
I do recall. Yeah.
At Addie's, flipping my life upside down a little bit. But episode 100 coming soon.
It seems like it'll be a Revolution thing, so we should aim for that.
Well, as Ricky Stark said, the Revolution will be televised. Hit it. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember he said that, and then he said, "Bitch." No, he didn't say bitch.
We have All Elite Wrestling Dynamite episode 174 live from the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. Your boy was in attendance.
Right.
I had not been at that building since January 4th, 2010 for Monday Night Raw, which was the night that Bret Hart returned to WWE for the first time since the Montreal Screwjob. So I believe the King of the Ring 93 was also at the Nutter Center. So there's been a lot of wrestling history in that building. And last night added to it because it was a fucking hell of a show, let me tell you.
Yes.
I haven't rewatched the whole thing, but I did rewatch the first and last matches. Crowd was not as hot as last week in Lexington, but still pretty lively. But how did it come across on the old television set?
I mean, it sounded, pretty. I mean, especially for the Moxley stuff. I mean, they threw all that in the beginning, but I mean, you all got treated to a lot of out of the ring, into the crowd kind of stuff,
which wasn't the best because they didn't have like the live feed on the screen.
So you just had to watch the spotlight.
Yeah, so at one point it was during the Samoa Joe Darby match, so we were literally one section over from where all this shit was happening, but you couldn't see anything. So our whole section, and it would have been during the commercial break, but just started chanting, "We can't see."
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
And they finally put it on the big screen, actually, but it was of course right when they got back to the
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I didn't catch that bit at all, but that's so tight.
But yeah, multiple matches that there was brawling in the crowd. And yeah, just a very high energy show here. And yeah, we kicked it off with the third match of the trilogy between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page back in Ohio, where this all began. And we were there for match number 1. So somehow I got to be in attendance to see my two favorite AEW wrestlers wrestle twice, which is very, very cool. But yeah, I mean, what more could you ask for here other than a clean finish? Because I did not want. I mean, and it was semi-clean. It was a kind of a shitty roll-up.
Yeah.
I had visions of they had already knocked each other out once. How perfect would a double knockout finish been? So basically where neither guy could answer the 10 count.
Yeah.
And it would have just been a draw. And then, boom, we're perfectly set for Revolution.
Right.
That was my only little complaint because I just thought that maybe I just had it built up in my head as that would be a perfect finish. But God, these guys are so fucking great together.
They
I
are.
loved this. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, no, I thought this was just definitely hard hitting. Like Moxley, I guess, bleeds the easiest out of any human being ever. Like,
Yeah.
um, but I mean, like,
How did it even happen? Because all
I
of a
have no
sudden I
idea.
look up and it's like, oh, he's bleeding.
Yeah. I mean, like, it happened before I think they went outside the ring because I think he had gotten cut like outside of that. But
Well,
I don't know.
they never went in the ring, remember? Because they
Yeah.
battled for several minutes before they even rang them. Because
Before
we kept talking.
Paul Turner like made them get
Yeah,
in there, he was
Dave's
pissed.
and I kept saying like they haven't rang the bell yet, have they? And,
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, these two are really good at just like just drama,
yes,
just real long, hard hitting, dramatic matches, and I'm really excited to see what this is going to be like on pay per view. Hopefully, if it makes it to that, because I
I
think like
can't
that's going
imagine
to be
it
ripe
won't.
for it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And that's why I was thinking, like, I wish it was kind of a non-finish, so it would have been like 1-1 going into this. But I get it. You give Mox I'm not going to call it a cheap win because it wasn't, but somewhat fluky win. Like, again, live, I kind of missed it because it happened so quick. And then Hangman, like, immediately bum rushed Paul Turner, like, what the
Right.
fuck? So I'm like, did he get his shoulder up? No, he didn't. But, yeah, man, it was so good up until the finish, I think.
Right.
Oh, Justin with a nice note here. After Hangman threw the chair at Mox, he rolled into the ring, and you can actually see Mox play.
Of course, like, obviously, yeah. That's we'll have to zoom in on that. Like, that's tight, obviously.
Yeah, but the energy was high here. I was torn, obviously, with these being my two boys. I have multiple shirts of both guys, but I chose to wear my Forbidden Door shirt because I could not choose. And the crowd was obviously pro Moxley being in Ohio. And hell, also, I did not know that his dad came out with him because we couldn't see that either. So that was fucking tight. But I kind of found myself leaning towards Hangman crazy enough. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I kind of did too. I mean, like, Hangman
Don't
always
let Tim King hear me say that. But
yeah, Hangman always still has that like big underdog kind of like stuff that's still like residual from his title run. Like, it's hard to like disassociate what that was from him to a degree,
and
especially
I actually
with the injury and stuff. Yeah.
I like when both of these guys trend heel too. Like when we had Moxley trending heel against Punk in Chicago and Hangman kind of trending heel both here and in Cincinnati. I just like because we don't really see that side of either of these guys too much. Like, yeah, Moxley's obviously just a bad motherfucker always.
For sure.
But Hangman's kind of trending that way, of
Yeah.
like, this is a guy you don't want to fuck with.
No.
And he's a bad motherfucker, and he's mean, and you don't want to cross him. And yeah, even at the end with like Claudio and Wheeler coming out, like he was like throwing blows with them, and
Doing all that stuff.
Maybe we'll get a Claudio Hangman match for the ROH World Title. Like, sign me the fuck up for that.
That would be fucking fascinating.
Justin, still a fantastic match. Really thinking these two are going to have a lights out match at Revolution. Absolutely. It'll be something, whether it's lights out, last man standing, Texas death match, something of that sort. And it's going to be amazing. I'm still kind of surprised they've done 3 matches before that, but who the hell doesn't want to see this again? And like you said, on pay-per-view, under the bright lights, and there's going to be a stipulation. I mean, yeah, all these matches have technically been just straight up matches, but I mean, Hangman fucking power bombed him through a table outside. These are no DQ matches, like
exactly, yeah.
Also, we had this happened basically twice in the show. We had Moxley sidestep the moonsault, and then he what did he do after that? Oh, he just hammered him with a clothesline. And then later on, we had Samoa Joe kind of sidestep Darby's suicide dive.
Yeah.
Which really led to the finish of that match. But
yep, for sure.
Yeah, not much else to say about this. These two are amazing, and the rivalry is outstanding. Who's going to win at Revolution? I mean, obviously,
that's a tough question.
Yet, but yeah, like
that's as much of like a wash as you can put it.
Yeah, I guess we'll wait till we get closer to Revolution and this
Yeah.
gets official before we start making.
Yeah, yeah, and like incorporate the build up and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, what a feud this has been. I mean, hell, going back to what, mid-September. Obviously, we had Hangman out for a little bit, but yeah, this is awesome. And really, I just want to say, since All Out, AEW's been fucking crushing it again.
No. They've really kind of, it's definitely
Like
they've
every
definitely kind
week,
of picked it up
Dynamite's
where,
great.
where they've extracted the drama,
Yeah.
the needless drama from it.
Really, I'll say actually from Full Gear on, because yes, I mean some of the but remember we were watching Full Gear, we're like, all right, AEW's back. I mean, I said that probably 10 times that night, but just seems like every week now, Dynamite. Granted, maybe I'm biased because I've been to the last two and they've both been amazing, but I don't know. I'm fully back on board here. They've been crushing it. The women's division is awesome. I mean, credit to my boy BJ Whitmer, and thanks for the tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with the state of the product right now. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, no, I think it's been pretty nice and compelling for sure.
Then we had the Bunny, the Butcher, and the Blade backstage with my girl Jamie Hayter, and the Bunny challenged her to an eliminator match. And then the real story here was they cut backstage to Saraya and Toni Storm beating up Britt Baker, which to me kind of, all right, Britt and Jamie are baby faces now.
Yeah, essentially.
And they're clearly going with this kind of homegrown AEW versus the WWE outsiders. And we'll save it till Ruby's segment later, but I love this. I think this is great. I mean, Jamie is already essentially a baby face anyway. The crowd has always loved Britt. So now let us cheer for them.
Oh yeah, for
sure. And it's been super organic, like there hasn't been neither of them
nothing forced or anything.
They haven't changed the way they've acted in any way. Granted, Saraya and Toni have turned at their expense, but yeah, I think this has been excellently done. And just like I said, in general, the women's division outside of Jade, and even that match last night was fine.
No, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a solid,
But overall, the growth of this women's division, and I got to give so much credit to Jamie Hayter. Like, she has put the division on her back and been having some of the best matches in AEW from the women, period. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So then we got the Acclaimed versus what is it, Turbo Floyd and what's the Truth Magnum, who, if you recall, we saw they were on Dark last week in Lexington because they're from Kentucky. Like, I've seen these guys at an indie show in Kentucky, and remember the crowd was fucking loving them last week on Dark. Granted, they got squashed here, but hell, these two made the most of their TV time. They had some fun expressions. Here's how you really scissor. So good work by the jobbers here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But obviously the story kind of happened after, with the Ass Boys coming out, and eventually Billy they were kind of talking shit to Billy, like drowning his sorrows in a pill bottle and things of that sort. So he had already walked out of the ring. He's like, I'm done with all this shit. His sons are not making fun of him, just cutting his ass down. And then he comes in, he's like, all right, motherfucker, you get your tag title shot next week. So, I feel like this has kind of been building for a very long time here. And credit to the Ass Boys. I mean, they are legitimate challengers.
Yep.
They are
heels.
They are one of the few heels that we've talked about. Like, we need some heel team challengers for the Acclaimed here.
No.
But I think they're deserving. Well, I'm not going to say obviously they're not going to win. I could see a world where there is a swerve where Billy Gunn actually turns on the Acclaimed and joins back up with this
like the pieces are there. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen, but they're there.
Yeah, it'll be intriguing. And yeah, solid little segment here. Apparently there was an interview with Jungle Boy and Marvez that I completely missed in the arena.
Yeah.
Where he said he's had fun tagging with Hook, but this year he'll be a champion again and do it all by himself.
All on his own.
All right, Jack. And then we had my boy Konosuke Takeshita versus Brian Cage, and god damn it, I loved this.
Yeah, this is good.
Hard hitting, big suplexes, drops on the head. Just watching Takeshita live is fucking awesome. The man glides. He's a freak. And I would say this is the biggest win he's gotten in AEW.
Oh, big
thus
time.
far.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, against like a very credible opponent. And
Yeah.
like to just like beat him kind of like he did, very impressive.
Yeah, with basically like a V trigger. It was a running knee type move. But yeah, I mean, Cage looked every bit like the machine that he is, as Azar said earlier. But yeah, these two laid it all out there. There were a lot of big moves. Like I said, a few head drops, which reminded me of some 90s All Japan shit. But yeah, this was great. And big things to come from Takeshita later on in the show as well. Like, I couldn't be happier with the way he's getting used now that he's signed full time, living in the States. Everyone now knows how good he is. The crowds are reacting accordingly. I mean, the guy is a star, legitimately.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love to see it all around.
Yeah. No, I think like, I don't know. This was just, I don't know. Like it was crazy just to see like Brian Cage just get beat up like that,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. My little table here almost broke. Yeah, we got to fix.
Table.
Yeah, my table.
And then there was the jazz segment backstage with Renee, where Jericho was saying he wants another match with Starks, and Sammy had suggested the Garcia Guevara Gauntlet, which I guess Starks has to beat Angelo Parker. And I love how he's like, oh, beat me? No chance, as he's like combing his hair.
Yeah.
Daddy Magic, and then either Sammy or Garcia, and then he'll finally get his match. Whatever. I mean, I like these guys, but I'm just tired of the whole, you got to beat these 5 guys to get your match. It's like MJF has done this a million times.
Yeah.
I'm fine with him doing it, but like this is already going on.
Well, yeah, and for something lesser, like that's the thing,
Yeah. But I'm fine with this kind of little mini feud continuing. I mean, I think Starks and Jericho is good stuff. They can both talk, and the first match was pretty fun. So
sure, yeah.
Yeah, and then there were the Elite shooting some hoops and talking about defending the trios titles against Top Flight and AR Fox, and then Stokely and
in the
Ethan
gym.
Page.
They were in the Wright State gym.
That's right.
I don't know if that's or practice gym, or I guess was that the Nutter Center? Like pre, there with
it
like
probably was like pre-taped.
Yeah. I would assume
so
the Wright
then
State Raiders practice in the Nutter Center. So
yeah, they challenged the Elite to a match on Rampage, which I saw and was really good. Obviously, it'll be aired tomorrow, but seeing Kenny live for the first time in quite a while, I got to see him at one of the at the Indianapolis Dynamite. But anyway, always a treat to see Kenneth Omega live.
Okay.
And then we got Bryan Danielson defeating Toothless Timothy Thatcher in 1338. Was this your first Timothy Thatcher match? I'm guessing it probably was.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, he's your classic grounded grappler.
Yeah, which like it was a very rolly, grippy.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say about this motherfucker.
Yeah,
like
did you enjoy it? Like, definitely.
I did. Yeah,
change of pace from the rest of the card, which
I did.
Think was welcomed.
I did. Like I definitely preferred. The Cage Takeshita match, and then the Mox Hangman, and then as we get later, Mimosa Joe and Darby. Like I don't know, like that all I thought was a little bit more engaging, at least to me. But I still thought this was compelling from an in-ring sense.
Yeah, and I mean, the laying it out there, like frankly, I had all 4 of those matches at 4+ stars. I'll go 4 on this one, 4.25 on Takeshita, 4.5 on the opener, 4.75 on the main event. Obviously, being there kind of gives it a little bump, but the thing with those 4 matches is they were all very, very different. The opener was just hard-hitting, brutal slugfest. 2 was kind of your like old school Japan style type match. This was straight up like grappling and then we got like a hardcore insane type match. So just from like different styles of wrestling, we got such a nice buffet, so to speak, on this show for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match, was nothing amazing, but like, two just awesome technical wrestlers going at it. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, we knew Thatcher wasn't going to win, but thought this was a pretty nice showcase for him. He's in Pro Wrestling Noah now. He had been in NXT for a little while. Yeah, I mean, I guess he didn't really come off like nearly as big of a threat as kind of, MJF was touting him. But anyway, it was enjoyable.
It was the most technical plot match I've seen in a while.
And the real story here was Takeshita coming out and attacking MJF, and like basically where we were sitting, like we were right across from where he came out, and like all of a sudden I started seeing someone like creeping from across the way. I'm like, oh shit. But just there's like little things that you can catch live that you never obviously see on TV. But yeah, so those two were kind of battling up the ramp, and then it showed they were battling backstage afterwards, and we got MJF versus Takeshita next week, baby.
That's gonna be pretty sick. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I can't fucking wait. And I guess it's technically an eliminator match, but again, I can't see MJF losing. But yeah, another big spot for Takeshita, and I was kind of hoping this would happen as he's kind of gotten integrated into this feud, and MJF had kind of talked shit about him a few weeks ago before the Bryan Takeshita match. So yeah, one, I love this little alliance between Takeshita and Bryan, and two, I fucking love that Takeshita is going to get a shot at the world championship.
Yeah, no, I think he deserves it. Like, man, this guy's so great, and I think, like, I don't know, like he deserves this stage.
Yeah,
that he's on.
So good. And then Excalibur said, "Oh, this was the Roosh, Preston Vance, and Jose." MJF had the briefcase of money. Said, I actually missed this part live, but he said the first briefcase is free, and if Rush beats Danielson, he can have 5 more. And he wants Roosh, I keep saying Roosh, to rip Bryan's arm off and beat him over the head with,
and put it in his butt.
MJF called dipshit and translated it, and Jose said they have a deal. Kind of anticlimactic here in terms of this being the 5th pillar, so to speak, or whatever. Pillar. What were they calling the thing? The 5 labors. The 5 labors.
Yeah, like he did the one with Jericho is way better.
Yeah, well, and like the first 2 matches were by far the best. The Takeshita and Bandito matches were both amazing, and the other 2 have both been really good. But it's almost like Takeshita, Bandito. And then Brian Cage, kind of a plateau, and then Thatcher, and then really we're just finishing with Roosh. I love Roosh, don't get me wrong, but this just feels kind of random. And again, presumably we know where this is heading. Is Roosh really going to beat Danielson? I don't think so.
That's a really good question. That's a really good question.
I guess the better question is, can MJF beat Danielson in a 60-minute match?
Without interference?
Yeah, could we get... We're getting too far ahead, but I could see a world where Danielson wins the belt here and drops it back, pretty immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuck. Let's just get there.
Yeah.
We'll wait till all this becomes official, but
till it solidifies. Yeah.
So then, we had Jade and Red Velvet. I'll be honest, this was a piss break for me, and also learning that they stopped selling beer at 9 p.m. But I did come back for the best part, which was where she basically hoisted her up and climbed up the steps and chucked her in the ring. But I will say the crowd was really into this.
And Red Velvet had herself a good match, I would say.
Yeah, Red Velvet looked the best she had in quite a while, because she's been prone to the botch quite a bit in the past. But yeah, the crowd was hyped for this. I mean, Jade always looks fucking great. She's a specimen. She's a spectacle. But she's just not. She just hasn't improved, really.
No, she's just stale.
Yeah. Just go to WWE already. No, I want to like her, and I mostly do like her, but it's just like we got to see some progress here, and I'm still wanting to fast forward your stuff more often than not. But I guess this match and the Sky Blue match a step in the right direction. Well, an interesting note though, when Jade picked up her daughter and walked her up the ramp, it Brandon Phillips.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a
Like
big BP chant in the arena
no,
because obviously
no.
we're
See,
in
they didn't
Dayton.
show him on camera either, and I was kind of
Yeah,
waiting for that. Yeah,
yeah. So I don't know if he probably had like rehab assignments in Dayton because this is
for the
the low A
Dragons.
team
Yeah,
for the Reds. Yeah, the Dragons. But yeah, there was a big like BP chant. I think it must have been during a commercial break, but that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Okay, and oh yeah, she's now 50-0 for what
Yeah.
that's worth.
Yeah. And like who's gonna beat her too? Because like all the dramas with like the baddies, I don't think any of the baddies are gonna beat her. Like
No,
there's
they're
like
literally like a quarter of her size.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still
yeah,
hoping on Chris Statlander.
yeah. There's really no direction with this outside of something coming in from the outside, which is what it's got to be. Which
Well,
like
or Statlander returning from injury,
yeah,
which I think we're pretty close to like the 6 month mark, which was
yeah.
like the minimum that she would come back. So, because man, she was getting hot before she got hurt again, and they were starting to use her right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Statlander. I mean, imagine her kind of coming into this now revamped women's division. You know?
Oh, yeah, that would be fascinating.
Yeah. Okay, so this was the moment with Britt and Jamie and Ruby. So Britt was in like the trainer's room, and Jamie was there, and Ruby came in. She asked if Britt was good, and Britt's like, "Those are your girls," because she's a former WWE as well, and she's like, "They're not my girls. I just want to make sure you're okay." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm okay." So this is kind of
Yeah, a movement toward that
or
team.
maybe maybe this is her kind of lulling them into some trust, and then
Complacency, and
she
then
turns
boom.
on
Yeah,
them. I don't know, because are we building towards a 3-on-3 here? Because if Sheeta has got to still be in this mix somehow, and I'm
right.
guessing she'll side with Britt and Jamie because there's already been some dissension with her and Saraya and Tony, and she is a true AEW original. So I could see this being Sheeta, Britt, and Jamie, and then Ruby maybe turning on them.
Yeah,
But this is all,
makes a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
sense.
Maybe they'll go this route at Revolution and they do this big like tag match instead of defending the title, because it seems like they're giving this a good amount of time. And, save for Thunder Rosa returning, there's not really like a clear challenger for Jamie right now,
No,
unless
there's
it
not.
is
Yeah,
unless Saraya gets that shot. But I don't really want to see that quite yet. So.
yeah, not yeah, me neither.
But regardless, this is all good stuff, positive direction, and really loving the this section of the women's division and what they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we get into the main event of the evening, and god damn, this was a pleasure to be there for.
Yeah.
Mimosa Joe, like you said, he is now a 2-time TNT champ. Man, what an amazing short reign by Darby, defending the belt every week. He got to take it over to Japan, which was cool. And yeah, this was a complete just fuck fest of a hardcore, brutal, beautiful match.
Exactly. Yeah.
Darby coming out with, we couldn't tell like that it was thumbtacks, but I'm like, yeah, there's studs on the jacket or something.
Yeah, and like he had so many wardrobe malfunctions with that jacket.
Oh yeah, when he climbed the top and he just like couldn't get it on.
Well, and Joe like trying to get it off, like it definitely was hard to deal with.
Yeah,
hard to get you to hard to get it to do what you wanted it to do.
Yeah, what did you think of this sucker?
Yeah, I thought this was great. I think like you had the classic Darby getting thrown around, but like with Joe, it's not so much like I'm a big angry bad guy like Wardlow or Miro with like the big crazy wide eyes. Like Joe's a lot more like clinical about it.
Calculated,
yeah. Which like I don't know, I prefer Joe as a wrestler over both of those guys for sure.
Man, what a run he's had.
Yeah,
Joe's been awesome.
Yeah, and like, he like it's just he never like blows his load in the beginning. Like he just kind of like sure has like those moments. Like there's one moment where he just kind of heaved him out of the ring,
God, yeah,
and
like
like but
very close to that table too, because
and
being
you
where
think
we were sitting, we're like, oh shit.
when you think that they would heave him into the table for the big spot, but no, it was just kind of just getting
Yeah,
him out of the way.
just showing his strength, and again, credit to Darby. Like that man just bumps around for like the 3 matches they've had. Like he just put his fucking body on the line, and
Oh yeah,
this one more so than any of them. But
yeah.
what these two were perfect opponents for each other.
They are, yeah, yeah, and Joe, like, especially Joe, he just doesn't like celebrate that like bigness or just like I'm like way bigger than you and I'm gonna powerbomb you a zillion times and yell and scream, like Joe's just kind of like, much more subdued, and nuanced and like I believe I said this way back during the Wardlow and who else was he fighting? It was him, Wardlow. What was that triple threat?
Hobbs,
Hobbs, yeah, he's a savvy veteran,
yes,
and I appreciated about Joe,
yeah.
like,
So,
yeah.
oh, go ahead. Do you have
No,
another thought?
oh no, I was just going to say that I like him, more than any of those guys as a wrestler, just because of just how smart he is.
Yeah, absolutely. And early in this match, we had the awesome moment where Joe was on the outside and he was getting the table, and Darby just fucking torpedoed right into that table.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah,
And then yeah, that's when they shortly after that, that's when they kind of came up into the crowd, which was again like one section over from us, and we couldn't see shit, nothing on the screens. We finally got them to turn it on. But yeah, rare to see 2 matches, go up into the crowd, and it was the same spot in the crowd too.
yeah.
But man, there was just so much that happened here. It's just hard to even recap. But there
Oh
it was
yeah.
only like 15 and a half minutes. I mean, felt longer in the best kind of way, like just because they got so much shit in. Um, but he had the moment where he threw him over. Joe hit him with a brain buster. Then he got the chairs. Oh, and then he slammed him onto the edge of the
Yeah, to the edge of the
chairs.
chairs, which is like hurt like hell, like back first.
Yeah. And then Darby, I did not see this live, but I guess he had some powder that
Yeah,
he
he
threw
did
in
and threw it in
Joe's
Joe's
eyes.
face,
Like we
especially when
definitely,
Joe was like bleeding like right up here. Like he
yeah,
had a big cut like right above his eyebrow.
yeah. I did not notice that until watching it back. And then he hit the destroyer. He hit the stunner. And yeah, that's when he tried to put the thumbtack jacket on.
Yeah. And then
But
he like
he's
had it just hanging around like his neck, like he just
yeah,
because he had to like take the sleeves and like push him back out, which like
yeah,
yeah, then those tacks were like facing in, that would have cut
yeah.
your arm up. So like there's nothing he could do ultimately,
No. And again,
especially
you have
hard
literally
to
like
think through that,
a few seconds to, and I actually liked how one of the announcers was like, well, you better do it soon. And then he just like, fuck it, and just jumped.
Yeah.
So we had Joe kick out of the coffin drop, which let me take us back to the first match because we did not talk about Moxley kicking out of the buckshot.
He did kick out the buckshot. Oh yeah, he totally
Just
did.
that is something worth noting
I
because
watched that. I
I
watched that
can't
at like 5 in the morning when I woke up. Like it was tight. It was pretty cool.
I can't remember anyone else kicking out of it, or at least
Yeah.
last night, like off the top of my head, I could not. For We haven't gotten any comments lately, but anyone out there, if you're still watching, let us know if if anyone is kicked out of a Hangman Buckshot Lariat, because
Yes.
I can't think of one.
Yes,
But
sir.
yeah, and the coffin drop too. You don't see that happen very often, but at that point, once he kicked out of the coffin drop, that's what I'm like, I think Joe might win this match.
Right.
And let's see, that's when he basically, so after he hit the coffin drop, that's when he started tearing the ring apart.
Yeah,
And
and it took him a long time on
it did.
TV.
It
It
really
did.
did.
Yeah, I forgot what Joe was doing because like he was just kind of the camera was still on him, just like cutting it. Especially they were like tougher ropes to cut, and
Yeah,
he was like really kind of getting into it. And I
I
was just sort of
know.
like, "Where's Joe?
Yeah.
Like what is Joe doing?
Yeah. But like I said, always a treat when you get to see the ring ripped up because that's something that doesn't happen very often. Um, Yeah, so basically right after he ripped the ring up, that's when Darby went for that suicide dive on the outside. Joe sidestepped. He went through the table. Joe power bombs him onto the thumbtack jacket. And then Darby fucking brutally puts his thumbs in Joe's eyes right there.
Oh
which
yeah, that was pretty hard.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Darby hit him with the steel chair. Climbs did the chop top. Joe shoves the ref into the ropes, gets his dick cut on the gets his nuts dragged on the turnbuckle. And then he gives him the muscle buster. He overshoots it a little bit, and Joe ends up taking most of the bump on the wood, but it was still pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And he gets the dub. And Samoa Joe, oh shit, I've got it right here.
Where's that? Yeah.
Is now again the true official one king of television.
Yes.
Both the TNT champion and the Ring of Honor World Television champion. But wait, we're not done yet.
Nope.
This is war! Former TNT champ Wardlow comes back in his home state to get his revenge over Joe.
Yeah, with his like gelled up hair, you know, fighting all the guys, and like all the security guard guys.
Yeah. But it was a cool little return, even though he'd only been gone for a month. It did feel longer than that. Yes. Yeah, you had said, I think it was before we started recording, or maybe we already had, but what are your thoughts on the title change here?
You know, like, I think it was a good match. I wish like all the changes weren't so sudden with this, you know, but I still think, you know, net positive, but not by like a shit ton.
Well, and like I said, at least Darby was retaining the belt every week. You know, I think he had 4 title defenses and he won it like less than a month ago.
Right.
So still a very fruitful second reign for Darby. Was very happy it happened because, as we've said a lot on this program, like the world just feels right when Darby Allin is the TNT.
Yeah. It just made sense, but also it feels right with Joe too.
It really does.
It does. Like, I'm glad these two kind of have this like push pull with it. You know, I'm interested to see where it goes. I know that it's going to be a big guy bout again. Like, where the hell's Miro? Obviously, but
God. Jesus, fuck, you're right about that. Let's just hope they book Wardlow a little better this time. You know, I guess he's probably going to win the TNT championship back at some point. I don't know, but let's just make it interesting here, because from basically the moment he won the TNT championship up until losing it, because that 3-way was great, I thought, like, he just wasn't, like, he had seemed to lose all the steam he had coming, you know, before he beat MJF. It's like everything kind of went downhill after that, unfortunately.
Pretty much, yeah. It just kind of, you know, just settled into just boring, give you a zillion power bombs.
Yeah.
Shit,
like the only one of the few interesting like title defenses he had was like the first one against Orange Cassidy, which was just like a random Dynamite match.
Yep.
But yeah, we know he's got it. But yeah, let's do some interesting stuff with him, you know. Fuck.
Please do. Both for butter.
All right. Well, shit, this has been a ton of fun.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I know the commenters have kind of tailed off here, but thank you to everyone who tuned in. And
No, this was a lot of fun.
A ton of fun.
Went off without a hitch, I dare say.
We definitely plan to do this more often. I'm sure we'll be doing some sort of live stream for our 100th. You know, maybe not like the official episode, but something in that time frame.
99.5.
Yeah, or 100.5, whatever it may be.
The Fox rocks.
Subscribe to us on YouTube if you do not already, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Brainbuster Boys. Hey, we've grown like 60-something Instagram followers since I've started like paying more attention to it.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah,
that's cool. We're up to like 361 or something. So.
For sure. Yeah, and buy this shit up here above me.
Oh yeah, buy that shit.
Buy that shit.
Great products. Underwear's got the hog pouch. It's great.
Yeah.
Beard hedger. I can't wait to use that motherfucker. Yeah, you got anything else here to say before we all close her out?
The seat leans far back. No, I guess. Oh yeah, it's nice. We'll lean back again. Sayonara.
Lean back. Lean back.
Got my mind on my money and my money on my mind.
Bye bye.